Bar for Bar album reviews. Big Sean, Detroit 2. Detroit 2 is the 5th studio album from Detroit rapper Big Sean. This album is a follow-up to his 2012 mixtape, Detroit. And this album's been pretty long awaited by many, since it's been a few years since we've gotten a proper Big Sean project. The release of the tracks Overtime, Single Again, and Bezerk also fueled that fire because they were used to promote the project, essentially. Although none of these tracks have made it to the album, they serve their purpose by getting fans excited. This album comes in a total runtime of 1 hour and 11 minutes with 21 tracks. So it's definitely one of the longer albums to have come out this year. However, 3 of the tracks are stories from Dave Chappelle, Erykah Badu, and Stevie Wonder, so the album is a little shorter than that. Given the track length and my general indifference of Sean's music, I was concerned that I would get bored pretty easily. And while that did happen, it was still a fairly enjoyable project. Given the length of this track list, I'm not going to go through each individual track. Really just going to talk about the ones that need talking about, whether they're good or bad. So Detroit 2 starts things off with the track Why Would I Stop? This track does a pretty good job as an intro because it's addressing everyone who doesn't really care about Big Sean, and they're just like, yo, you should just stop rapping. He might not address the haters directly, but he does it in a way that makes them really question why would he stop. It's also pretty enjoyable because of the wordplay here. Dilla and Pimp C, the Triller. This shit might go too trill for Triller though. I see you critical, I'm the hospitable favorite rappers I done cut their umbilicals. Here he's using trill to reference both J Dilla and Pimp C, as well as the Triller rap. He also uses critical as in critical condition, and hospitable as hospital. Like I said though, this does do a good job as an intro, but I can 100% see it as a Lucy or an interlude track. With Lucky Me, Big Sean opens up about a lot of things that have occurred in his life, which is actually interesting to hear. At first, the beat and the flow are kind of boring, and I often find myself reaching for the skip button until the beat switches. Once that happens, the song gets much better, and it's like Sean just came back to life. Deep Reverence is probably the first song of the album that I really enjoyed. I did a breakdown for that already if you want a better look at it, but features Nipsey Hussle, and it's just about respect, essentially. With Wolves, Big Sean brings in Post Malone. This song is pretty straightforward. It talks about Sean's upbringing and compares his family to a pack of wolves. This works in 2 ways. One, to show his loyalty to his family, but also to put on display the love and the ferociousness of him and his family. This song probably also has one of my favorite choruses due to how often it gets stuck in my head. Skipping ahead a bit, the track Harder Than My Demons is interesting. On one hand, I like what he's saying here because he's basically saying to succeed, he has to work harder than his demons, which are more than likely just the things in his own self and head that are holding him back. I guess it's kind of a reminder that you are your own worst critic. I just don't really like the song itself though. Between the beats and his flow here, just kind of meh to me, and for me, it doesn't have much replay value. ZTFO, or Zen the Fuck Out, is really just about Sean's mind state and how he deals with external forces. He uses himself as an example for others to Zen the fuck out, basically telling them not to let negativity get the best of you. There's really not much more to elaborate with on this track. It's pretty enjoyable, and I do enjoy the chorus on this as well, so along with Wolves, it's one of my favorite choruses. Guard Your Heart has Sean enlisting Wale, Early Mac, and Anderson .Paak. And this track is pretty introspective, and it tells the listeners to hold their heads and guard their hearts. This is basically just a way of saying, keep your head up and keep your heart safe. It could also be seen as them saying, don't let the things in your head get to your heart or change what your heart desires. Sean's verse has him talking about the things that he's conflicted about, like being signed to Kanye but managed by Roc Nation, meaning Jay-Z, or being cool with both Pusha T and Drake. Wale brings an excellent verse here as well, speaking on the things that are just bigger than him, and how you need to guard your heart from external forces that are trying to keep you and your whole community down. The 11th track on this project is Respected, featuring Young Thug. This track has both of them talking about the things that the two have accomplished in their careers and serves as a reminder to the haters that you can't slander their name or do them dirty. I personally enjoy the song just because of it's one of the higher energy ones and has Sean being a bit more braggadocious. And then we go to Lithuania, which is one of my least favorite songs on this album. Like, there's nothing about this that is appealing to me, and I'm genuinely confused as to why people enjoy it. This beat's all over the place, and Travis really doesn't add anything to it. However, that does lead to what's probably my favorite track on the album, Full Circle. The song itself isn't anything too crazy, and it really just touches on things coming full circle in his career and life in general. This track has everyone thinking about where they are currently and the path that they took to get here. The next track, Time In, marks the return of Sean and Janae Aiko's group 2088. This song is fairly short, but it gets to the point across well. It's essentially meant to be a sex song, but it seems to be talking more about a newer relationship since they're not quite living together just yet. It also has a feeling of just this longing to be with someone they've known for some time, and I've always had some sort of feelings towards, but only recently have you been able to act on them. Feed is an interesting track because it has a pretty melancholy feel compared to some of the other tracks on the album. A lot of it has him questioning stuff just in his life and seeing changes in general. I just enjoy the sound of this track, really. The Baddest seemed pretty promising at first due to the Godzilla sample, but the drums on this beat takes more away from it for me. Drums don't always have to hit hard, just saying. Sean also just doesn't really quite fit this beat for me, and it just feels a little forced. As we approach the end of the album, there's really no signs of slowing down. Don Life features Lil Wayne, and although I can see the appeal here, I'm just not a huge fan of this track either. The track really just has both of them rapping about their work ethic, and Wayne's definitely a highlight, but I don't know, there's just something about it that I'm not huge on. Now to the song that everyone listened to first, Friday Night Cipher. I appreciate what was done here because he wanted to have Detroit artists that wouldn't necessarily collab on the same track. I also understand that he wanted the song to be listenable, so he couldn't have everyone that he wanted on it. Like, it's already a 10-minute song. However, it's still pretty good. Obviously, Sean, Royce, and Em brought some of the best verses, but everyone brought heat. It's also just kind of funny because everyone's talking shit about the beat, but Cipher beats are pretty much always meant to be stripped down and minimal, so don't know what y'all mad about. And then the final track, Still I Rise, is an appropriate outro because it just feels triumphant. It also just has a good message telling you to rise up above all the negativity. Overall, this album was an interesting listen. People's thoughts on it are pretty polarizing from what I've seen. A lot of people really like it, and a lot of people found it kind of mid. And I'm more in the mid camp. I did enjoy parts of it, but a lot of it was just kind of like, okay. I may have gone into this project with really high expectations though, so that might be part of it. That being said, I definitely know that people enjoy it and I can see why. Just remember, reviews are not meant to be like objective. Like, these are just what I think. My favorite tracks on this album are Full Circle, Deep Reverence, Wolves, ZTFO, and Friday Night Cipher. That about wraps it up though. I don't really have much else to say because I'm not the biggest fan of Big Sean to begin with. Like, I know he has skill, but on this album I feel like I didn't get enough of it. I think in general though, I feel like Sean probably should have gone with a shorter album. Like, if this project was maybe 15 tracks and was more focused, it'd be good. And then if you wanted to, you could just release a deluxe edition with this full track list. That's just me though. Anyways, let me know in the comments below what you thought of this album, and tell me why I'm wrong, because I'm sure everyone's going to do that anyway. Anyways, like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you for watching, and please stay safe out there.